Hello and welcome to all my dear students. So today we are going to do the remaining part of the chapter Biodiversity and Conservation. So far you have seen what is biodiversity, types of biodiversity and their importance in serving the stability of ecosystem. Today we are going to see that how and why are we losing this biodiversity. The biggest concern of current scenario is the loss of biodiversity. We humans, for our economic benefit, we are practicing enormous level of deforestation. We are practicing hunting and poaching, because of which the species on earth are declining day by day. And this decline rate is so high that is directly related to the instability of ecosystem. And if once your ecosystem becomes unstable, that even we Homo sapiens will not be able to survive on earth. So for your own survival, it is our responsibility to make sure that all the species on earth are living peacefully and in harmony, right? So today we are going to start with the topic loss of biodiversity. Again, mainly due to human activities, we are losing these species on earth. Let's read what NCERT says for this. It is doubtful if any new species are being added. ये कहना मुश्किल है कि कोई नई species add हो रही है. But yes, this is very easy to say that every day we are losing so many species. The biological wealth of our planet has been declining rapidly. The biological wealth is related to the biodiversity. But due to human activity, due to man-made activity, this diversity, these resources are declining. An accusing finger directly points to the humans. Correct? Now, for example, there is one condition given, the colonization of tropical Pacific island, and you know, humans, we are exploding our number. There's lot of population explosion. Now, every human needs a proper home, needs a proper area to work. For that, the land is limited, but population is exploding. So what people are doing to adjust themselves, we are cutting down the forest. When you cut down the forest, you make open land for yourself, but due to this activity, you are not only losing plants, but all those animals living in the forest, they also lose their habitat and they become homeless, they wander, and ultimately they are also killed and poached by humans. So because of excessive population explosion, we are in great demand of land, because of which we are colonizing inside the jungles, we are cutting down the jungles, we are killing animals, making our lavish homes and factories, and simply destroying the health of our ecosystem. The best example is given, the colonization of Pacific islands by human is said to have extinct more than 2,000 species of native bird. Now birds are also having homes on these trees. When you kill the trees, when you deforest the trees, then automatically these birds also don't have homes. Now where will they build their home? Will they come and build home in your own home? You will not let even that happen. So where these birds will go? Yes, of course. So IUCN Red List documents the extinction of 784 species of including 338 vertebrates, 359 invertebrates and 87 plants in the last 500 years. So IUCN has generated its own book by the name Red List, and it's a red data book in which all the species who are on the verge of extinction, who got extinct, who are more vulnerable, all that list is generated, which tells you that in last 500 years we have lost so many species, which is actually too much. Right? Now, some examples of recent extinction includes the dodo from Mauritius. It's a bird which it was a flightless bird from Mauritius. Quagga from Africa, thylacine from Australia, stellar sea cow from Russia, and 3 subspecies of tiger, that is Bali, Javan and Caspian. And this is too much. The more biodiversity loss you face, the more ecosystem will become unstable and it will become less healthy for even us to survive in upcoming future. Right? Now, next point, let's read it. The last 20 years alone have witnessed the disappearance of 27 species within 10 years. Last decade, within last 2 decades, we have seen disappearance of nearly 27 species, which is a very high rate of extinction. Careful analysis of records shows that extinction across the taxa are not random. Some groups like amphibians are more vulnerable to extinction. So remember, if question come, which category of animal is more vulnerable towards extinction, then your answer will be amphibians. According to the grim scenario of extinction, more than 15,500 species are facing the threat of extinction. अगर आज का हम condition देखें, we humans are not stopping. We are colonizing the forest, we are cutting down the trees, we are practicing hunting and poaching for our economic benefit. We are not stopping. As a result, the biodiversity due to human intervention is at great risk. And it is said that if the same scenario continues, then 15,500 species will be lost due to such activities in the upcoming years. Presently, 12% of the all bird species, 23% of all mammal species, 32% of amphibians and 31% of gymnosperm in the world are facing the threat of extinction. So beta, all these data which is given in your NCERT is very, very important, and make sure that you learn all these data. This chapter is mainly based on data, that what is the percentage of species getting extinct, kya bacha hai, and all these things. So basically this chapter is based on data which you have to remember. There is no escape to it, and questions are asked from these data directly, and yes, you can directly, you can grasp your marks if you remember this data. Questions are simple. It's just if you remember, you take the correct answer, you get the marks. So make sure you don't ignore this chapter, rather you focus more on this chapter so that you can fetch the direct +4 marks. Next topic is causes of biodiversity loss. Basically, there are 4 causes under the name evil quadrate. That is habitat loss and fragmentation. Second is your alien species invasion. Third is your co-extinction, and there is one more. All these 4 together are the reasons which are called as evil quadrate, leading to the tremendous loss of biodiversity. So let's see. There are basically 4 causes of biodiversity loss, together called as evil quadrate, and those 4 in sequence are: number 1 is habitat loss and fragmentation. Number 2 is co-extinction. Number 2 is overexploitation. Number 3 is alien species invasion. And number 4 is co-extinction. So basically, these are the 4 reasons which are majorly hinting towards the loss of biodiversity. First, let's start with what is habitat loss and fragmentation. Now, due to overpopulation growth, there is constant demand of land for building homes, for agriculture, for factories, etc. From where the land will come? There's a limited piece of land. Half of the portion is occupied by water, Of course, that area, that 70% of the earth, since it is with water, you cannot build your home on the water and etc. So only 30% area of the earth is land, of which major portion is under forest. So people, they start cutting down forest tremendously. As a result, they start colonizing the jungles, they start building their homes, factories in the jungle, which is actually home for so many species. But due to our need, of course, we are practicing deforestation, we are killing the trees, we are killing the animals living inside those jungles, and yes, this is one of the major cause for loss of biodiversity, habitat loss and fragmentation. People, for their welfare, for their homes, for their agriculture, are cutting down the trees. There's loss of biodiversity of plants as well as animal. The second is over exploitation. See, the main trouble is when need changes into greed. If suppose in a family that there's a family of 4 members, so how many space do they require for living? Of course, 2 BHK flat I think will be sufficient. But if they have money, then they will try to buy a 5 BHK flat, or they will try to buy 2 flats, they'll buy 3 flats, and they will simply acquire the land even which they don't require. Ab, kyunki the rich people, they are simply acquiring the land even if they don't require, then what happens? The poor people, they have to sacrifice and they have to make slums, and because the land prices are hiking like anything, richer people, they keep on buying not only the land, even the vehicles and everything. The richer people, they keep on buying these resources even if they are becoming costlier, and again the price keeps on hiking because the availability of the land, the availability of fuel is declining, but the demand is still increasing, so the price keeps on hiking, and as a result, the poor people, they don't receive it. They start making slums, they start cutting down forest, they start making their huts inside the jungle, killing the animals to save themselves. So all this happens. Even habitat loss again is a big reason of over exploitation, when need changes into greed. When a 2 BHK flat is sufficient, and that the same family, because they are rich, because they can afford, so they buy 3 new homes, and then the land available decreases for the remaining people, and for this habitat loss comes, for this deforestation is being practiced. So we have to understand the difference between need and greed. So over exploitation of any resource, be it land, be it fuel, everything should be controlled if we want to save the nature. However, if the same scenario continues for upcoming generations, then surely we will have to face the troubles, the catastrophes of the earth. Third is alien species invasion. Like for example, Icornia, terror of Bengal. It was brought to India for its beauty, but that beauty becomes terror. How? These alien species, when they are brought from other country to any other place, what happens, beta? Alien species, these are exotic species. They don't have their natural predator in the given area, and because of which they flourish very fast. There is no predator of them, so they keep on growing at the cost of native species. So introduction of one exotic species will lead to the death of so many native species, क्योंकि एक exotic species दूसरी species के भी resources और nutrients ले जा रहे हैं. Now native species, they are not only facing the trouble from exotic, but their predators are also available. So due to over pressure, the native species, they start dying, and the biggest reason is alien species invasion. Fourth is co-extinction. Co-extinction means when 2 organisms, they are living in mutual association, and if out of the mutual association, if one of the organism die, other automatically dies. So co-extinction मतलब एक के चक्कर में एक मुफ्त गया. So this is the 4th cause of biodiversity loss. So basically there are 4 causes together called as evil quadrate: habitat loss and fragmentation, Overexploitation, when need changes into greed. Introduction of exotic species, which starts growing at the sake of native species. Co-extinction, if one goes, another has to go because there was a mutual association, they were dependent on each other, and if one dies, second automatically dies. Right? Understood? Now, these are the causes of biodiversity loss. Now, next you have to see how to conserve biodiversity. The main problem is, see, you have seen the importance of biodiversity, that now we have realized so far कि ये तो बहुत ज़रूरी है हमारे खुद के लिए. And you also know the causes of biodiversity loss. You know that habitat loss and fragmentation, population explosion, overexploitation, these are certain reasons for biodiversity loss. Then you should control these factors now. Let not habitat loss takes place. Let not population grow tremendously. Let not alien species invasion take place. So if we control all these things, then automatically we will conserve our biodiversity. Because why you should do this? There are 3 reasons for saving, for protecting your biodiversity, which is categorized under 3 categories as broadly utilitarian, second is narrowly utilitarian, and third is ethical issues. Okay, first talking about broad utilitarian. Broad means ecosystem is these biodiversity ecosystem is giving you so much in the form of food, in the form of timber, in the form of place to live, oxygen, so many things ecosystem is giving you, so which is non-profitable. It's not related to money, but still you can't live without these services given to you by ecosystem, soil, everything. So these are the broad utilitarian aspects that why you should conserve your biodiversity. अगर नहीं बचाओगे तो food कहाँ से लाओगे, timber कहाँ से लाओगे, medicines कहाँ से लाओगे. So they may not be related to direct economy, but yes, they are still related to economy. So broadly utilitarian means that we should conserve our nature because it is giving you so much in the form of oxygen, in the form of scenic beauty, in the form of soil where you live, the air which you take in. These are non-profitable, but even still we cannot survive without them. Second is narrow utilitarian. Okay, broad utilitarian means services given by ecosystem which is not profitable, from which you don't earn money, but still you can't live without them. Services given which may not be profitable. So yes, services given by the ecosystem which may not be profitable but can't live without them. But can't survive without them. Like for example, soil, air, etc., forest, everything. Broadly utilitarian simply means this is broad. Narrow utilitarian means ecosystem is also the source of income. Like I told you, food, timber, medicines, all these things are coming from different species of earth. Everything is given to you by the ecosystem. So if everything is given to you by ecosystem, then why you should not protect it? It becomes a prime duty to protect our nature because it is giving us so much. So the economic resources, the economic benefits are also received from ecosystem. The economic benefits are also coming from ecosystem, hence it becomes our prime duty to protect ecosystem, like for example food, timber, medicines, etc. थर्ड इज एथिकल. अब बेटा जो नेचर आपको इतना दे रहा है, it is giving you money, it is giving you everything, place to live, oxygen to survive, soil to grow vegetation, food, timber, medicine, everything is coming from the nature. Without nature we are nothing. We cannot even stand without nature for even 1 second. When so much is given to you by the nature, doesn't become our duty to protect it? Of course, yes. So ethical means moral ground. When nature is giving us so much, then on moral grounds, we should conserve ecosystem. Then on moral grounds only we should conserve ecosystem. How? ठीक, सब समझ में आ गया, लेकिन कैसे बचाएं? So basically there are two ways to conserve biodiversity. One is in situ method and another is ex situ method of conservation. Majority of you must be knowing, we have already discussed this in situ and ex situ method of conservation, but let's do it once again. In means on site, ex means away from the site. When you conserve the plants and animals, when you conserve the species in their own natural habitat, like your biosphere reserve, national parks, sanctuaries, and sacred groves, hotspots, all these are in situ conservation. And you're not taking animals, you're not taking plants from their natural place to some other artificially created place. Rather, you're keeping the animals in the same place and then you're protecting them. Ex situ means, ab kya hua? There was a forest fire and now the environmental condition of the natural condition is very damaging, that plants and animals, they cannot survive in that area. So you have to take away all those living plants and animals to such an area where you provide them natural conditions but artificially, and then that is called as ex situ conservation. So what are the two methods of conservation? In situ. In situ means on-site conservation. Ex situ means away from the site conservation. Now, what is in situ? When the species are protected. When the species are protected in their natural habitat. Are protected in their natural habitat. Where they are living, there only they are protected. Now on the other hand is ex situ, when the species are protected away from their natural home, because their natural home may be disturbed due to some human activities or natural activities. As a result, a new place similar to their home is being created, like your zoological parks, botanical garden, wildlife sanctuaries. All these are different methods of ex situ conservation. In situ, like your national parks, the national sanctuaries, biosphere reserves, sacred groves, hotspots, all these are in situ method of conservation. You just have to read it once from your NCERT and it will be done. Very, very easy. Just read it. I have explained you the concept of what is in situ and ex situ. Nothing more. You just have to remember the data which is given in your NCERT. That's it. Now, you have seen that how to conserve. There are some in situ methods, there are some ex situ methods. Apart from this, there were two law. There were two summits took place where different countries came together and they pledged for saving and protecting the biodiversity and using the limited resources in a sustainable manner. So basically two summits took place, one in the year 1992 and another in the year 2002. 1992 summit took place in Rio de Janeiro, which is called as Earth Summit. Again, the aim was conserving the biodiversity and using the resources in a very sustainable manner. Summit means where different countries, they come together, they pledge for some good purpose. And second took place in 2002 in Johannesburg, called as World Summit, again with the same aim. So these two things also you have to remember. And with this, you come to the end of again another amazing lecture. Hope you all enjoyed this thoroughly. And the last chapter left is environmental issues, which is again very, very easy. Simply direct information you have to remember from NCERT. And we are going to start that lecture from a next class onwards. With this, only 3 or 4 lectures more are left. With this, your excellence batch from botany side will wind up hopefully in the next week itself. So thank you for watching me so far, and keep yourself connected with the channel for more updates. Bye bye everyone, take care.